Yo, what's going on, in the End Podcast family? I have two guests here today. This is our first podcast with two guests. Y'all are accustomed, very accustomed, to one of the guests that I have today. Y'all know him very well. His name is Mike Harris, my brother, my dog.
How are y'all?
He is in the building today. But I also got another close friend of mine. Dimitri is in the place. And so, dude, I kind of want you, each and every time we have a guest on the pod, I want them to I want the people to feel like they know a little bit about you at the end of each episode, right? So I titled it In the End Podcast because my goal is that at the end of each podcast episode, we would leave people better. Ecclesiastes 7:8 says that better is the ending of a thing than the beginning. And so our goal is to leave people better in the end. With each conversation. And so I would love for the people to know just a little bit about you, where you from, what you do, stuff like that.
So I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 414, stand up. Currently reside in Durham, North Carolina. Passionate about film, just being a visionary, just trying to use the gift that God gave me to uplift everybody that I come in contact with. And even then, people that I would never come in contact with. That's my main mission, that's my main purpose. And a part of my purpose is to help other people find their purpose too.
Absolutely.
So, like I say, the seed originated in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, then lived in Greenville, Mississippi, where a lot of things help, like nurture, you know what I'm saying, that seed. And then my roots ended up extending out here in North Carolina. So I'm just trying to be an extension of that. And just trying to, uplift the world in my own unique way.
Bro, I love it, man.
Love it.
So we sort of were in a group chat and we started dabbling with a couple ideas about what we wanted to talk about. Sometimes me and Mike will be in the chair before we record a pod and go through a couple of different things that we think we want to talk about. I know that one of the things that we had mentioned was identity. And I think it's very, very crucial, especially for our generation, to understand identity, not only from a self-reflection standpoint, but also just from like a biblical standpoint. Because I think that if all we focus on is self-reflection, it's kind of why a lot of people in the world today don't even know who they are.
Right.
Because they're just only doing the self-reflection part, especially Christians. There are some Christians who are only doing the self-reflection part, but not necessarily tackling identity from a biblical perspective. And I think that it's crucial for understanding who you are by understanding who created you.
Right.
I think that you can't understand who you are by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I said this, I think it was, we were recording a haircut or something, but I talk about identity from the perspective of Adam. Because Adam is in the garden and God says, well, it's not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
So then he creates Eve and Adam says this phrase, it is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she came from man. The Hebrew is, she shall be called Isha, for she came from Ish.
Yeah.
Right? And so the revelation that I got is that it is only in relationship with another human that Adam was able to identify himself. And so I think a key part of identity is understanding who you are in community.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you have to understand not only who you are individually, but you understand who you are in tandem with another person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I am able to identify as a brother because Jaden.
Right.
I'm able to identify as a friend because of Mike.
Right.
Right. So it's only in relationship.
Yeah.
A father can only be called a father once he has a son.
Exactly.
And
Right.
so I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts, like you guys' thoughts. What do you think about how important of a role community plays in understanding who you are?
For me personally, I grew up in the community, you know what I'm saying? And where it's like, even my church, like I tell people, I grew up in a 4-generational church. So these people knew me before I knew myself type of thing.
Right.
And they knew my mom before she knew herself type of thing.
Yeah.
So I had the privilege of understanding who I am, where I came from since birth. So even if I got outside myself, I always had people check me. They like, that's not who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like to have people kind of redefine who you are also kind of keeps you on the same path type of thing. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that access. Or they just probably don't have people that care enough to, keep their identity intact.
Absolutely.
Right? And then I think the most dangerous thing is to like be in this world and not know a sense of yourself or not have a sense of yourself. Because that's how people end up in gangs. They end up in relationships that aren't healthy, toxic relationships.
Yeah.
Because they don't know who they are and what they want.
Right.
So
real.
when you don't know who you are, you're liable to be in so many different situations that you ain't got no business in.
Right.
And I think for me, like by me having that access and just kind of just having that, I never lost in touch with myself.
That's real.
And that kept me sane and grounded. And I just wish that everybody had access, but a lot of people don't.
You know, and even some people that do have the access don't take advantage of it, which is the sad part because when I look at people, bro, I look at the potential they have before I look at anything else.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out here that are valued amongst their people, don't know that they're valued because they're not told.
Yep.
But when you know who you are, you don't have to worry about how valuable you are in what area. But when you have a certain identity, we're talking about this self-awareness thing, right? You can take that so far, but with self-awareness, you know right off the bat when you do something, whether you should be doing it or you should not be doing it.
Absolutely.
It's not complicated. It's really not. And we learn as kids right from wrong, but as we get older, we mature. You know, we mature into what our professions are, what we like to do.
Yeah.
And off of that, that's just on you, whether you want to take advantage of what you know or whether you don't want to. So
Actual factuals.
Yeah.
I think a key part that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to identity and knowing yourself is that fathers play a huge role in identity.
oh, Lord.
Like, out of everything that God could have called himself, the fact that he decided to call himself Father, it blows my mind, especially because, like, my own earthly father, he wasn't the type of dad that you'd see in, like, a Pixar film.
Yeah.
Like, he just wasn't that. And so I think one of the things that I wrestled with the most growing up as a teenager, because I lost my dad when I was 12.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that I had wrestled with the most, like growing up as a teenager without a dad, was just trying to figure out who I was. And I think that fathers provide that, right? God is a generational God. He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right?
Yeah.
So when we understand the power of a father, then we understand the necessity of a father. Not only just physical fathers, like earthly fathers, but spiritual fathers as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of we live in such a fatherless generation that there aren't a lot of dads who actually care and are intentional about building family and building community and building identity within their family. And so for me, I really was able to find identity in who I was once I met my spiritual dad.
Yeah.
My pastor sort of helped me navigate who I was, because I met my pastor when I was 14. And I had known that I had a gift to speak and communicate. Yeah. And so it wasn't until I was about 16 that my pastor was sort of like, well, who are you? Like, he just picked me up randomly from school one day and just sat me down and was like, well, who's Jayon? Because I feel this mysterious, like, cloud over you, and I can't figure you out. I don't know who you are. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm a preacher. And he was like, aha. I can't figure out who you are because you don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
I was identifying myself as what I did.
Yeah.
And I think that's what so many of us, especially in this generation, we do. Well, I'm a videographer, or I'm a barber, or I'm a communicator, or a social media influencer. And we identify ourselves by our giftings.
Yeah.
But I had to come to the realization that our identity is not only found in what we can do. Right. Our identity is found in who God has created us to be.
Right.
So, yeah, I just kind of want to hear your thoughts, especially about, because I know we all have a different blend of the way fathers played a role in our lives.
Bro, I'll say this right now. I'm extremely blessed and fortunate to still have my father with me.
Yeah.
And my father's a pastor. He's got his church, and my mother being first lady, of course. Growing up, there's a lot of things that goes in one ear and out the other, because you hear these same you know, the same cliches all the time. But as I get older, these same cliches start to mean more and more and more to me as I mature in my lifestyle and my spirituality and my careers.
Right.
So having a father, bro, I'm so blessed beyond words because he sees who I want to be. That's the biggest thing because he sees the vision that I see.
Yeah.
When you try to sit underneath somebody that can't see your vision, it's hard for them to push you to there, you know, to that direction. And even my spiritual father, shout out Bruce Graves, bro. Shout out Pops, man. Shout out Pops. Man, he's done so much for me when it comes to materialistic things, tangible things that I can touch and go get in the world. But he cares about my spirit. Who am I in my spirit? You know, and having a mentor or anybody that you can sit underneath that cares about your soul and cares about your career and what you want to do, bro, that's the best thing you can do. Just find somebody that cares about that.
Yeah, that's real.
As far as my father, like I lost my father when I was 17. And I can say as far as identity with me, as far as like a father's covering, it's like I didn't really get a sense of myself until after he passed.
Yeah, same.
Why do you think that is?
I think, you know, when people say like you kind of living in your father's shadow or your older brother's shadow, but I think it's kind of like since I didn't have that covering anymore, I had to stand on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, the crazy part is like one of the things that I always told my mom, like up until maybe 2 years ago, I was just like, with Dad dying, I had always felt like I had to grow up too fast.
Yeah.
And so I had to sort of step into myself way sooner than what I expected to.
And you were 12.
I was 12, dude.
Bro,
and so like I had uncles being like, oh, well, you the man of the house now. And I'm like, I don't even know what it means to be a man.
You can't put that responsibility on a 12-year-old.
It's
like,
tough.
And I'm like,
it's tough, bro.
what does that mean? Do I got to lock the door at night? Like, being the man of the house. Do I got to start paying bills or something? Like
you feel like you lost your innocence a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm stepping into this role that I don't even know how to fulfill. Because number one, I don't know myself.
Yeah.
And number two, I don't even know what this role requires. And so I had always knew, like in the back of my head, like even when my dad was here, he would just always tell me, yeah, don't do none of the stuff you see me do. Like he would always instill that in me.
It was
so
I
it's
say,
like,
not as I do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I knew what not to do.
Right.
But I didn't necessarily know how to live my life. I knew that my dad wasn't the type of person that I wanted to emulate or wanted to be like. And so it took me finding my pastor and finding my spiritual dad for me to sort of mirror that in a sense. Finding someone who I could actually be inspired by, right?
Yeah.
Because I think also identity comes from inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That there's a part of you that sort of is shaped by what inspires you.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by
Bro, and I can piggyback off of this. I'm a living testimony of this because my whole entire family, if you know me and you know my family, if you don't sing, you play. If you don't play, you sing.
I'm still figuring out all family members.
We was talking about this.
There's so many people.
Every week, if somebody knew his family, then I'm like, dang, I didn't know y'all was related.
But I say that because, bro, like on one part, you are who you hang around, but for two,
I'm gonna get into
it really is. Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
I'm gonna get into that. I'm about to get
But I
into
say that
that.
because like you are really inspired by who you're around, who you're growing up around. And granted, you don't sing, you don't play, you don't play, you don't sing. It's not forced. It's something that we all love to do genuinely. We all push that on ourselves. But we have people that know how to nurture that gift.
Exactly.
They've done it before us, and we're the next generation that's going to do it. And then we're going to have to teach the next generation how to do it. So whoever you have in that spot, just make sure that they're good, sound-minded, level-headed, and really have your best interests at heart. You'll have some people that play friend and play mentor, but really just give you crumbs. We don't want crumbs. We want plates.
But dude, I think that's comes back to it's full circle because it comes back to fatherhood. Fatherhood providing identity for you.
Right.
Because they were cognizant of the fact that you had this gift. You had this ability in you because they knew themselves. Right. And so it's like once you know yourself, you know your seed. Once you know yourself, you know what you produce.
Right.
Because you produce who you are.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
my kid is not going to be Asian. My child, whenever I decide
It's
to have
literally
children,
impossible, bro.
it will never be Asian.
That'd be funny
If I
if I
marry an
married-
Asian, unless I marry an
You better
Asian
talk to
woman.
you better talk to your dad. What?
Unless I'm married to an Asian woman,
Yeah, nah.
this is not. My child will never be Asian.
I'm like, what
And so it's like,
No, yeah, no.
came out. I like that.
I'd be
Let me
like-
talk to you. You show
I'd be like,
I want to check your woman.
we're gonna have to call this whole marriage off. We got to do
Yeah.
some
He
investigation.
gonna be on Murray.
I am not the father.
In the case of baby Jayon Jr., you are not the father. I said, how you gonna play my man like that with this Asian baby? We let an Asian talk to you. God bless
Yeah, it's like, unless I marry an Asian woman,
you. Yeah. Of course.
my kid is not gonna come out Asian because you produce who you are.
Yeah. And also to add on to that, it's like knowing yourself, you know also what you lack too.
That's
Oh
good.
yes,
That's
good.
good.
That's a good one.
I think even identify yourself, you know who's for you and who's not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even sometimes not knowing yourself, you know that person not good for you. They don't add to you like mentally, spiritually, emotionally type of things. And then another thing with that is like a lot of people know who should be around them, who shouldn't, but they still would stay close to them just because they don't want to be alone with themselves.
Right.
Oh, my
Some people can't handle being alone. They don't want to deal with who they are in private.
Exactly.
They don't want to deal
my
with their
goodness.
demons, and they just want to, you know what I'm saying?
Can't make themselves
It's
forget.
hard, and coming from a place where I was in a pretty dark place sometime in 2020.
Yeah.
You know, when we were all kind of just, you know, stuck indoors, and I'm not an extrovert, but I don't want to be at the crib every day, all day. So, you know, that put me in a place where, you know what I'm saying? And it put me in a place where I'm like, bro, I got to do something. So that kind of forced me to be in my spirituality, which kind of helped me to find who I am.
Yeah.
And that forced me, like, if I would have never been in that place, I probably would have been in the season where I'm neglecting my responsibilities to my spirit man.
Yeah.
Your responsibilities to your spirit man needs to be you're over anything else. Because if your spirit man is starving, everything else is gonna starve.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta feed that.
I want to piggyback off of what Dimitri said because there's so much that just happened that I kind of want to take a pause and slow down on.
Okay.
Because I think the first thing that's vital is understanding who is around you
Yeah.
shapes who you are. That's key.
Absolutely.
I posted this quote a couple of weeks ago that whatever you surround yourself with will shape you.
Yep.
There's a story in Luke chapter 15 of the prodigal son.
Yep.
And the Bible says that he goes to his dad. He wants his dad's inheritance. He's like, yo, give me my inheritance. The Bible says that he goes, he squanders it on all this wild living, and he's stuck in this pig pen.
Yep.
And the Bible says that he is tempted to eat the pods that the pigs were eating.
Boy.
That
He
bad.
was tempted to eat the pods
That's
that the
nasty.
pigs were eating.
That's nasty.
It's
How
like,
much would you do that for, Mike?
About 4 mil. No less.
4 million
4
at
mil.
least.
Yeah.
but it's like, if you surround yourself with pigs,
Yeah.
you will begin to develop a pig appetite.
Yeah.
You will begin to crave the things that are around you.
Yeah.
So you say that, oh God, never mind. You say that you're not a hoe,
Oh, there it is.
but are you hang around as hoes?
Man.
Yeah. Hey, look at my. Hey,
You say-
I was looking for my water. I'm like, man.
Let me take a sip to that. You know what I'm saying?
You say that you're not this, but are you hang around? You say that you're not toxic, but everyone who's around you is toxic.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't understand that whatever it is that you are surrounding yourself with is shaping your identity. It is shaping you into who you are, which is why your circle matters, which is why who you keep around you matters.
Yeah.
Because if you don't keep the right people around you, you're going to have the wrong appetites. You're going to have the wrong things that you're desiring. And I think it's vital for, especially for our generation, to understand that who you keep around you, who you keep close to you, who you call friend, who you call brother, who you call sister matters.
Yep.
It matters more than anything else, especially when it comes to shaping your identity.
Listen, I do not claim everybody. If y'all listen, if y'all are out here listening right now, Mike is not everybody's friend.
Look.
I'm sorry. It's just not that way because I don't allow everybody in my circle. Everybody do not know me like that. Even people that I were close to back in 2019, 2020, 20, whatever. I'm a completely different person now. You know, they got to relearn who I am.
Yeah.
They got to relearn my tendencies. You know, they try to hold you accountable for your past things and they don't understand. But it is what it is. If you have a friend group that you are so used to being with, understand that I went through the same thing, man.
But,
Yeah.
but you know
They-
why they hold you to your past? Because you left them in your past.
There it is. And that's all they know. That's all they know about me. And when people try to hold you to their past, but it's crazy because they're on the same mission as me. We're all musicians, or we all maybe barbers, or we all whatever. Yeah. But their route is completely different than mine. Same mission, different route. And that's okay. You can still love them from a distance, but they just can't be in your circle.
And that's the same thing that I kind of like going through myself. It's just like, I think I use as an analogy. It's kind of like you going through different grades. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to the next grade. You're flunking. So it's like, I can't flunk with you. I got to ascend forward. So I'm not going to stay in the same spot because that's the part that you feel most comfortable with. I don't feel comfortable digress. I'm trying to progress.
Me and Mike talked about this a couple of weeks ago. That at a certain altitude, the boosters have to fall out of a rocket.
Yep. Gotta go.
It's
too much weight.
Too much weight. Where I'm going, you can't go with me.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that we might be similar. You might have thought we was on the same path. But once we reached a certain altitude, you couldn't handle the heat. You couldn't handle the pressure. And that's okay. It's like with Abraham and Lot. Lot, I love you, but we just can't coexist together. Like all of the stuff that we have, it's impossible for us to coexist together. So you go here, you go there, I go there, and we live our lives. It's not that I don't love you. It's not that I don't got love for you. It's not that I won't break bread with you. But where we're headed, it's two completely different places. Which is why I think self-awareness is important. Which is why I think identity is important. Because you can only understand who can be around you once you know who you are.
It just comes with spiritual maturity. You
talk about that.
Spiritual maturity is hard to maintain though, because you can be offset or thrown off track by the smallest things. God said sin first starts in the mind and the heart. If you already thought you did it, you didn't already did it.
Hello.
So it's hard to get into the consistency of being in a certain mindset every day, to go after the same thing every day, and be around what you need to be around. But there's baggage, man. Friends can turn into baggage very, very quick. You have to be very, very careful.
Absolutely.
And I think another thing is like they see their reflection off of you, and they know you're ascending, but they still stuck in the same spot. So they like, why am I not ascending like Mike? So let me latch on to him, and let me get a grasp of this. So wherever he go, I go with him. But it's like, no, you gotta have your own self identity. You gotta find your own path of where you trying to go. Because that's the part where it's like, all right, if you just ride my wave, then at some point you're gonna be dropped off. Then you're gonna look at me depending on
what you got going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, my purpose is to fulfill my purpose. Your purpose is to fulfill your purpose. So I think that's another thing. If I talk to somebody and they don't really have a goal of what they want, they can't be attached to me.
That's dangerous. People that don't know what they want to do but want to be around all these people
who have no vision.
There you go.
That's the word. Vision.
That's the word.
The Bible says where there is no vision, the people perish.
Right.
So it's like, of course, if I have a vision, if I have a goal, and you want to stay here forever, of course our relationship will perish. Because we're on two different tracks. I have somewhere that I'm headed towards. I have somewhere where I'm going. But if there is no vision, if there is no vision for who you see yourself as, if there is no vision for where you're trying to go, if there is no vision for what you're trying to do, then you will perish. Your dream will perish. Your personality will perish. Who you are will perish because you have no vision of where you're going. And I think that's vital.
And I feel like even when we talk about identity, I think we had a conversation when we was on FaceTime. Like some of the first thing you do when you wake up is like probably go on Instagram, Twitter.
Look at your phone.
And the first thing you're doing is comparing yourself to somebody else.
That's
like you comparing how many followers that
you don't even know you're doing it.
You like everything is subconscious. You know what I'm saying? And then you gonna adopt this envy towards somebody you don't know because you think, wow, this person got this. Like they see your videos, like, bro, how you get all these views on? They don't know the work you put in to get that.
Absolutely.
People think, people DM me about him. Bro, I'm like, bro, first of all, y'all think he just started doing this? Bro, been doing this for a minute,
been grinding this thing for 2 years.
Y'all think overnight success, there's no such thing as microwave success. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This nigga's has been going at it.
In my thing, like I told you, man, they see the fruit, but they don't know the seed that was planted.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Even like, I think even past Andy Mason nasty. Like they see Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying, how great of a shooter he is, but they don't know how many hours he spent in the gym.
They don't know how many he missed. First of all,
to get to the one.
There you go. Because
Yeah, they count the makes, but they don't know how many misses.
Listen,
Yeah.
I get questions about my locks and stuff like that, and they will, I want locks on, but I don't want to go through the ugly stage.
Then you don't
Yeah.
want locks then.
Man, shut up.
Yeah, it's like you don't want.
Man, that's so applicable for everything else, but it's just like, bro, there's always gonna be an ugly stage for whatever you
For
do.
whatever it is.
You think I cut Jayon hair like this and I could have did this 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
No.
He had to mess up.
No, bro.
He had to push his hairline back
Absolutely.
5 inches before he can get crispy
5
like that.
God, dog. This 5 inches.
He had that Stephen A. Smith in the back. You know what I'm
Stephen A.
saying?
Smith got me weak.
Nah, that's OD.
Oh, that's funny.
Brother need to let it
that's
go.
funny.
Not gonna hold you.
Let it go. Hey, but
He
that's
should have been to let that
Yeah,
go.
he should have been let that go. Good God.
Shout out Stephen A. Smith, first take, you know what I'm
We love you, Stephen A.
saying? Bring us on the show, you know what I'm saying? We can talk about identity. Go ahead. What you
Talk
saying,
about who his
Mike?
barber is. Good God. Good God. I don't get it. Anyway.
Oh my
Wait,
gosh.
bruh. But no, but it's just like, I think social media, I think as far as like our generation, like, you know, Gen Z and I don't know the other generation under C.
I think it's X is next or something. I
No,
don't know.
X is up there.
Oh, X is up
Chromosome
there?
X and Y, whatever the generation is.
X and Y. No, you stupid.
No, but it's like, even like me, like I'm a videographer, filmmaker, so I follow a lot of different videographers, not because I'm jealous of them. I want to learn from those guys.
Yeah.
I'm securing myself where I can say I don't know something.
But
Right.
see, that's what me and Mike were literally talking about last pod. If you watch last pod, you
Oh,
about
yeah,
to
you
get
know.
some. You about to get a
Oh, yeah.
remake.
Yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to. Being secure in yourself. Because if you're not secure in yourself, you will compare.
Hey, yep.
All comparison is insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a projection of insecurity.
Yeah.
You don't like how you feel, so
Yeah.
you see how you measure up with somebody else.
Exactly.
Oh well, my video got this many views. It's
Yeah.
got this many. I have this many followers. It's like
Yeah.
you're trying to measure yourself up, and it's not necessary. It doesn't require all of that.
But you know what I thought about? The fact that we've never seen a commercial for a Bugatti.
Nope.
We've never seen it.
And
But
I
we
say that.
but we see commercials for Toyota Camrys all the time.
Fords.
The demographic is different.
Yeah.
It's not meant for everybody, you know. So when you will never go and see a Lamborghini and Toyota combo at the same store. It's like, yeah, you're a car and this is a car, but like the demographic is different. The budget for a Camry is going to be what, 25 at most, and then the budget for a Bugatti is going to be at least 200,000. So the people that have 20,000 to spare is not going to walk into a Bugatti dealership.
Yeah.
They're going to stay where they can go and go on up to auction direct and get what they can get, you know?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but the crowd is different. The demographic is different.
Absolutely.
And then another thing, even kind of like, I mean, when you think about identity, we can like break this down to so many different layers. Another thing is like, what do you value? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like what you value is the thing that you're going to protect the most.
Yeah.
So for instance, right, this is my dad's watch. My mom gets it to me after my father's funeral. So I have 4 siblings, so each of us got something that belonged to our father. Mm-hmm. And of course, she gave me the watch. I don't know, this watch has a crack, as you can see. It doesn't work.
I actually can't see it.
I don't even know if this gold is real or not. I really don't. But the thing is, I don't care.
Sentimental.
Because it's worth something to me.
Yeah.
So if somebody say, yo, Meech, I'll give you $1 million Rolex, I would still wear this watch over that.
Absolutely.
Because of what it means to me. It's like you can buy you can make another $1 million Rolex. You can't give me Durahill's watch. Another Durahill's watch. So I think for me, it's just like we let other people or outside people put a value on something that only belongs to us.
Right.
Yeah.
So whether it's our purpose, whether it's our passion, you can't put a price tag on what is mine.
We had a pretty dope
Jesus.
conversation.
That went by way too
Hey,
quick.
that was a good debut.
It was big. We
Yeah.
had like, 30 minutes? I know these cameras be tripping sometimes. Jaden, what we at?
33.
33
That's
minutes.
good
All right, fam.
Good time.
We about to wrap it. We had a great conversation about identity and gifting and a whole bunch of stuff, honestly. Hey, so if you enjoyed this conversation, if you really like this conversation, I want you to like, share, and subscribe on this video. If you're on Apple or Spotify, rate us, leave us some reviews. I'd love to read them. I read every single review, every single comment. And so, I'll catch y'all in the next episode. Love y'all so much. All right, peace.